Hi. I will tell you my story about how to challenge your mind. I will give you an exercise program that you can take with you as a whole, or where you pick the pieces that are best suited for you. Because the mind is amazing, but we have been taught that there are some limitations. Yet, we are the living proof, you and I, that amazing things are possible. I will share my story of how I saw the world as a kid being a great invention with a couple of billion inventors. And of course, I wanted to become one of them. But to invent things, I knew that I needed parts. So I started to collect parts wherever I could find them. It could be a good wooden stick, a plastic thing, or a screw. And as you can imagine, my mother loved picking me up from kindergarten with a bag full of stuff every day. And the staff obviously speculated a lot about how my room must look at home. And I soon realized that I, as a kid, didn't choose that obvious path that everybody else were following. I always tried to find my own way of doing things. I tried to even turn a blind eye to that path that everybody else were following, that path that were already tested and confirmed to work okay. Because why would I choose a path that were already tested, a path that would lead to minimal development, when I wanted to evolve, I wanted to learn new things? And all of that led to me starting my first company when I was 16. A company where I helped larger corporations with their IT challenges. And everybody around me were really questioning how or why I would run my own company. I mean, I was just 16. But I already had a massive amount of experience. Experience from challenging the norm, testing new things, even trying out those things that I were told would not work, just to learn how they failed. And more importantly, learn from every step in the process to see what worked and what did not. So I always come up with a massive amount of ideas. Ideas about how to solve different problems or new products and new business ideas. These ideas helped me to evolve a lot along my road. And it also gave me a massive amount of opportunities. Or more importantly, I made room for those opportunities. I did not turn the ideas down. I actually investigated them further to see what I could make out of them. And just like any super athlete, to become good at anything, you need to practice. You need to embrace the failure. You need to learn from each failure what went wrong and what can I do to improve this the next time. So that when I'm in a spot where there's no room for the so-called failure, I have already been in that position and tried every possible angle out. So I know exactly how to do that particular part. And I soon realized that by doing all these things, by trying out all these different ideas or alternative angles to do things, I soon get exhausted because obviously we have a limited amount of energy that we can play with. It's just like turning on every stone just to see what's underneath. You need to find a way to work smarter with your brain. You need to find a way to make better use of the brain power, or you will easily get exhausted. So, as you can imagine, school was a bit difficult for me. And after a couple of years, I learned that I was dyslexic, which was a part of a challenge for me, because it both gave me an understanding to why I were challenging everything, but also that I were standing apart from the rest of the class. But that wasn't a bad thing for me. because I was feeling that burning sensation inside of me. I had an amazing feeling inside of me that helped me along the road, that pushed me forward, that gave me the belief in myself to actually do all these things differently. But to do all these things, it really challenged my mind, and I soon realized that I had more ideas than I could actually cope with. I had to find a way to solve this. So I will share some of my secrets with you, how I make better use of my brain power, and how I actually make use of my subconscious mind to solve some of the problems, and even answer questions that I don't know that I am even asking myself yet. So I started by collecting all the ideas that I come up with in a huge mind map. And this mind map grew in all directions, with ideas from building physical products to internet-based services. And by adding all the ideas into a mind map, I could soon see that I needed to structure things. I needed to collect all the ideas into different groups. So I started to sort them. And by sorting them, I saw where I were having the most inner inspiration, where I had my subconscious mind doing half of the work for me, where I could focus more on my energy to move faster and more efficient. So what I did was to go through this group of ideas that were growing fastest. And I soon realized that this group was within internet-based services. So I wanted to really challenge my subconscious mind in this area. And it's a bit difficult to talk to your subconscious mind, but by going through these ideas and thinking about the next step, or how ideas can be combined into a new idea, I actually managed to let go of some of the burden that I was covering with the part of my mind that I control, and I wake up with solutions. But an idea is not something that is easy to remember, because an idea is not yet a memory. An idea is something connected to something that inspired you to think of that idea. That connection is almost invisible. So if you take this idea and start thinking about other things, the idea is easily lost, just like a thought. So let's take an example. Do you remember that day in the park? The sun was shining, and your friends were there, and you had such a great time. Can you recall a memory similar to this? Do you see how that memory is brought back to you using these simple search tags? It's a memory that's recorded in your memory, in your mind. And what I wanted to do is to record the thoughts just like a memory. So to record or to convert a thought to a memory, I started to scribble down the thoughts that I have around this idea. And by scribbling things down, just writing a picture or a few words, I actually converted the thought into a memory that I could recall and replay whenever I liked. And I also wanted to really let go of some of the mental burden and some of the ideas that I were carrying around, because by carrying an idea, it's just like stepping into a room with 100 balloons, that if one of the balloons touches the floor, they will break. And you have to run around and push them up in the air. An idea is similar to that, where you actually have to touch the idea every now and then to remember it. And if you carry around lots of to-dos and things that you need to deliver, questions that you carry around, it's similar to that as well. So you see how your mind is occupied with all these things that you need to take care of all the time. But by converting them into memories, you actually can make better use of your brain power, because you have all of a sudden more capacity to work with. And by converting them to memories, you also sleep better. So I decided many years ago to never to go to sleep before I was done with the today's tasks, or before I had actually documented some of these ideas down. So when I go to sleep, I actually sleep. I don't keep my mind occupied with all these thoughts, these ideas. I let go of that, and I turn over to my subconscious mind that actually processes things all the time, that even processes things as we sleep. Just like if you were to do a homework or write an essay, you leave your computer on when you go to bed and hope for the computer to be done with your homework after your sleep. But your subconscious mind cannot really be trusted, and that's why I hand over to the subconscious mind on the tasks that I don't really know that I'm working on yet. I want to let go of all these ideas that I carry with me so that my subconscious mind can prepare me for the day ahead. And this opened up a new door for me, a door to a whole new world, where I could make better use of the capacity that I actually have inside of me. Just like the iceberg, where we see part of it on the surface. But what I have done is that I looked under the surface, and I have experienced a massive amount of power that we can make use of. Power that we can use for other things as well. Instead of just remembering all those to-dos that we have to do, to pick up laundry or pick up kids at a certain time and so on. And by applying these methods, by making use of these tools, you will soon see that all your thoughts, all those ideas, all those to-dos that you carry around will start to form a pattern, a shape. And this shape will help you move faster, more efficient in the right angle, in that angle that you have chosen, instead of being distracted by all the other ideas. But in school, we are taught based on a number of rules, and the teachers teach us a base knowledge, a knowledge about how to actually move forward in the so-called normal life. But I encourage you to actually challenge those rules. It's important to still learn the rules, but also how to work around the rules, to challenge them and understand how you can break the rules even, or write new rules. Because school is not the solution to everything. You need to find your own path and follow that. Just like with our kids, today we have the possibility to actually give them a new set of tools, tools that are different from when we grew up. And by enabling our kids to think more open-minded, open-hearted, we will see great new solutions. We will actually enable them to believe in themselves in a totally different way. I'm sure that you have probably been told something similar to, it just is that way, when you as a kid asked your parents about something. And this actually demotivates our children. Of course, we might not always have time to explain everything, but what I do with our daughter, Wilhelmina, is to actually encourage her to ask when she has questions. And yes, sometimes it takes some time to explain to her, but that time is probably the best investment in time that I can ever do. To explain to my daughter and share my experience and knowledge with her, and to show her what an immense power that she carries within her. To show her that she can actually solve great problems on her own. Like the other day when she asked me, "Dad, can't we take a walk with all my toys?" And I said, yes, of course. She soon realized that she had just 2 hands, so she could carry maybe just a few of the toys. So we talked about it, and together we found a solution about how to actually make it possible for her to take all the toys with her, because that is what she asked for. So that's also why I encourage that, to make her find out that she can do amazing things. This is just one small step, but it's a very important step for her to believe in herself and to find her own way of doing things. So Now it's up to you to find your new horizons. Find out that there are no horizons, no limits, only endless possibilities. Thank you for listening.